This episode of Internet Today is sponsored by Honey.
Now, by now, we're sure you've heard about the coronavirus.
Delicious.
A mysterious infectious respiratory virus that originated in Wuhan, China, specifically from a wild animal market. And it's now reached nearly 5,000 confirmed infections across the world, with the majority of those confirmed cases existing within one province in China. Now, there's plenty to unpack with this whole thing, and it is true that there have been confirmed cases here in the United States, but so far that number sits at just 5.
Yeah, and we're going to cover this more in the future,
yes.
But the question you may have, should you be worried about this virus? Well, at this point, unless you live in China, specifically the Hubei province in the middle, or are traveling there, or have traveled there in the past few days and weeks, then no, you shouldn't really lose any sleep over this thing.
No.
I mean, like we said, here in America, there are only 5 confirmed cases, and all of those people were coming here from China and have now been quarantined. There's a pretty good chance that number could grow, but the likelihood that anyone watching this show would be infected by the coronavirus is extremely low. If you do, you've just got very bad luck. And I'm sorry.
The worst luck.
Yeah.
Like, literally the worst luck.
I'm sorry, buddy.
I was just hanging out at the terminal at the airport where the international flights come in, and
Some dude just sneezed right in my mouth.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Well, for some perspective on this whole thing, and not just to freak you out, we're sorry, but the flu is way more likely to upend your life and potentially kill you than the coronavirus, despite the coronavirus getting a ton of press over the past week or two.
Okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually a lot more likely that you're going to die in a car accident, so I don't see what the big deal is.
Yeah. In the United States, it's reported that around 200,000 people are hospitalized with the flu each year, and the flu is responsible for the deaths of around 35,000 people. So it's obviously way worse by comparison. Sorry to Neil deGrasse Tyson, everyone. But despite the very real, actual, dangerous existence of the flu and the typical bored or unworried reaction that people have towards it, the coronavirus is a hot new thing to talk about. And somehow it became further proof that the world is coming to an end, considering it popped up after multiple earthquakes, horrific brush fires, floods, and iguanas falling out of trees, and much more in the past month alone. January 2020 has been a real bitch.
And yeah, I mean, in the biblical sense, these have all been plagues, so it only makes sense that an actual plague would finally come. I'm excited for the frogs, though. That's going to be tight.
Well, no, the iguanas are basically, they're reptiles that are falling.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, if you're worried about this thing or just curious to learn more and protect yourself, one company is really hoping that you don't use their product for any kind of actual education regarding this virus and others like it, although I already have. Endemic Creations and their popular cross-platform video game Plague Inc., which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since the outbreak and the worldwide news coverage that followed, the popular mobile game, which also has iterations on the PC and even board game versions, has seen a giant surge in popularity.
Yes, it has.
Even creating enough traffic that the developer's website went offline due to all this traffic.
Yeah, in the last 30 days alone, the daily average player numbers on the Steam version of the game have jumped 148%, and it's reached a peak player base of 17,889 this month, making January 2020 the biggest month in the game's history on the Steam platform.
Hey, we did it.
Yeah. By comparison, that's a huge percentage, more than people are actually getting this thing. So, but not by much. It's like, what, 2,000 hospitalized or something like that?
I literally,
That's the problem, too, is every day that goes by, it increases by a lot. So.
Yeah, and every day they're like, hey, new country.
Yeah.
And I literally, last week, as soon as this news started heating up, I'm like, I wonder if there's a Wuhan coronavirus mod for this game. And sure enough.
No. Anyways, according to a report from the BBC, over in China, where the outbreak originated and has done the most damage, Plague Inc. has, 8 years after its release, become the best-selling app in the entire country.
I mean,
it's how you cope.
Yeah. Confront your fears head on through the magic of video games.
Yeah, and a video game where you just try to infect the earth.
Now, to be fair, Plague Inc., it is challenging. You, as the disease, you have to put in work. Usually you lose.
Yeah.
Unless you're very careful.
It's this is the problem, though. It's these gamers. They get hooked on the game, and they're like, what if I role play Plague Inc. and go try to infect people around the world?
Well,
damn LARPers.
God. I hope not.
Anyways, but successful, and as weird as it might be that a game about viruses spreading across Earth and wiping out all human life is topping the charts during a time where people fear that exact thing happening, the developers of the game have been forced to put out a statement warning users not to use their game for any type of educational purpose. It reads as follows.
The coronavirus outbreak in China is deeply concerning, and we've received a lot of questions from players and the media. Plague Inc. has been out for 8 years now, and whenever there's an outbreak of disease, we see an increase in players, as people seek to find out more about how disease is spread and to understand the complexities of viral outbreaks. We specifically designed the game to be realistic and informative, while not sensationalizing serious real-world issues. This has been recognized by the CDC and other leading medical organizations around the world. However, please remember that Plague Inc. is a game, not a scientific model, and that the current coronavirus outbreak is a very real situation, which is impacting a huge number of people. We would always recommend that players get their information directly from local and global health authorities.
Yeah.
But, like we said, the game's pretty accurate. The CDC, they gave us thumbs up, so, like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, the makers of the game actually, like, met with the CDC and everything.
It's a good game. Like, it's interesting.
It's you say what you want about the amount of worthwhile mobile games out there.
Yeah.
This one's been around for a while, and it's a damn good game.
It is. It is. You kids always complain all the mobile games are crap. This one's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they then go on, the developers, they go on to link to the Center for Disease Control and information regarding the coronavirus as well, which we've included in the description below if you really want to get nerdy and read about this stuff.
Yeah, but before we leave the world of video games and move over to politics,
another disease,
we should probably check in on Stadia. I've forgotten because no one talks about it anymore.
Yeah, easy to forget.
We're of course talking about the Google video game streaming service that was surely going to bring forth an entirely new generation of gaming thanks to their artificial intelligence and the cloud and I don't know, a whole bunch of other Google magic. Well, as you'll all never let me forget, I purchased the Founders Edition of Stadia and received it the week it was released.
There's a new one born every minute.
I did receive it a few days late. Again, I got it so that I could test it out because I was just a little Stadia curious, okay? I wanted to try it for the show. We'd been talking about it for a while. Mm-hmm. I was Stadia curious, so I dipped my toes in. Mm-hmm. I put just the tip of my finger into it.
Should have dipped your balls in for a taste.
Now again, yes, I did get it. But did it win me over? And what has my experience been like in the 2 months since? Well, I can tell you right now that I literally haven't touched the goddamn thing once since my initial road test of the device. I haven't purchased one game, and I've already taken the necessary steps to cancel my account because there is literally no hope for this fucking thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brutal. So Ricky's predictable disappointment aside, it also seems that everyone else who gave Google a chance and paid to beta test this service is also upset at Google for a multitude of reasons. The biggest of those reasons being this. Google hasn't released or announced a single new game for Stadia in around 40 days. And the service has only been around for 70 days. So, big fucking yikes there. The only update that came, and by the way, it came the morning after the post about the lack of games dominated the Stadia subreddit, which is run by Google employees. Here's the news. Their free pro games for the month of February are Metro Exodus and a Stadia exclusive called Guilt.
That's kind of ironic.
And as many players point out, Metro Exodus is horrible to play on a controller, even with zero input lag. So people who have the Founders Edition and prefer to play with a controller will probably just end up completely frustrated.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, it's very hard to play with any kind of controller. Good for the PC, though. But the only other announcements that Google has even made in the past few weeks is that they are, quote, tracking 120 games this year for the service, but there's essentially no information on what exactly that means. It's certainly not going to be 120 new games, and even if they were to come close to that number this year, the majority of the titles would have to be games that have previously been released on PC and other consoles. And as we all know, if those games do end up existing on the Stadia platform, they will almost certainly debut at a premium price point because that has been the case for everything they've released so far, no matter how heavily those games are discounted on other platforms. So while it doesn't look like they've completely abandoned the service yet, things are off to a terrible start for this industry disruptor, especially considering that the 3-month trial for Founders is about to end next month. They went weeks without saying anything.
Yeah, Google...
For a brand new service.
This is very Google of them.
Yeah, but I saw weirdly more rapid than other complete failures and things that they've let go.
Yeah, it's weird.
We didn't know we couldn't do that.
It's like, it feels like some departments at Google are very fully committed to this, and other it's like, wait, what Stadia? Is that something we make?
It is funny that like it seems that the primary amount of resources internally are going towards community management on the subreddit and their Discord.
Putting out fires.
Yeah, instead of like doing anything for the actual game service. It's
cheaper to shush people than it is to like, develop the ability to play 4K games over the internet. Yeah. Anyway, the problems listed in the posted complaint include the following. So as expected, there haven't been any further updates in January after the 120 game mystery bonanza. Still though, supposedly 2 or more than 2 months out until 4K on the browser, any assistant functionality at all, and the true wireless controller functionality advertised. That's the funniest part. There's 120 games coming out, but none revealed so far. Pixel phone remains the only Android phone with Stadia functionality. There's still no mention of iOS. Still no mention at all of Stadia Base. Still no mention of family sharing. Still no acknowledgement that they've read and/or are listening to the community or plan on bettering their communication model. Daily updates, scrapped for weekly updates, scrapped for bi-monthly updates, and outside of that whole mess, the platform's biggest title, Destiny 2, is already seeing a player base that's so consistently low that it's become increasingly hard for people to play PvP modes that require matchmaking with other players.
Yeah, there's no one playing it. And it's actually kind of impressive to see just how fast this paid beta test has gone downhill. I mean, we expected this to fail eventually, just not within the first 3 months, when you would assume that would be the most important time for Google to prove that Stadia could compete in the gaming space. Now, obviously, we do have some big gaming conventions coming up soon, so you'd hope that Google would have big announcements for those. But based on their track record so far, we'd say it would be wise to not get your hopes up at all, especially when the developers and publishers of any games that would or could even be ported to Stadia have to do it all on their own. And if those companies are looking at the current slate of games and the player base attached to those games as a test case, how could any company be motivated to take time and energy towards this platform?
It doesn't seem like it's anyone's priority.
No.
Anyways, before we get into the rest of today's news, it's time to take a very quick break and thank Honey for sponsoring this episode. Honey is the free online shopping tool that saves you money online. Honey automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart, which makes online shopping finally feel as easy as it's supposed to be. Honey works automatically at the checkout page at any of your favorite sites. A box drops down, you click apply the coupons, you wait a few seconds for it to scan for promo codes, and boom, the price will drop.
Yeah.
Before your eyes.
I recently paid for parking in advance at some place and scanned it. Boom, got $5 off my prepaid parking.
There's promo codes for things you wouldn't even imagine.
Elliot bought a dog staircase. Got a promo
more
code.
Of a ramp.
Okay.
But, yeah,
there you go.
save some money with Honey.
Honey supports over 30,000 stores online. They're adding more every day, and they found their over 18 million members over $2 billion in savings. If you're not using Honey, you're passing up free money. It's free to install in just 2 clicks, so if you want to check it out, make sure you use our link by going to joinhoney.com/itdaily or using the link in the description below. That is joinhoney.com/itdaily to sign up now.
All right, now back into the news with Democratic presidential candidate Bloomberg. Mike Bloomberg with those moves.
He's the only candidate that I have seen some Joe Biden ads, but Mike Bloomberg ads are on like every football game that I watch during the playoffs. And
him and Tom Steyer are just...
They only exist in TV commercials.
They're both just, they're just like, you know what? It would be a cool like footnote on my Wikipedia page like 50 years from now when I'm dead. Like, ran for president.
Yeah.
Got a few votes. That's all they really want.
But I'm here to disrupt the political industry.
Anyway, Mike Bloomberg, relatable, human man, apparently either does not know how dogs work or deliberately chooses to be really fucking weird and kind of cruel to them publicly.
Yeah.
On Tuesday of this week, a video appeared online of Bloomberg on a campaign stop in Burlington, Vermont, where he was meeting with people as he desperately attempts to gain some kind of traction in the race for the White House. At this campaign stop, a dog was present, and that dog looked like a real good boy.
Mm-hmm.
Good boys need good pets, but Bloomberg decided he was going to be a completely normal human male and grab the dog by the mouth and shake its head around as if he were shaking its paw.
It's really awkward.
Dogs do use their mouths kind of like hands. But you're taking this to its logical extreme, Mike, and it looks very strange. It's extremely weird. we might be able to look at it and say, okay, that's just an awkward mistake. Sometimes we shake a dog's head.
Yeah, you go to grab it and its mouth's open, you accidentally grab it wrong. And
you start doing something wrong and you're like, well, I can either stop and look like an idiot, or I can
fully commit
to this mistake. The thing I'm doing might look weird, but I look confident while I'm doing it.
Yeah, so everyone around me thinks that it was on purpose. This could have been that. I love that idea of it.
Might have been that. You see him do that, and you're like, maybe I'm weird. Maybe I've been petting dogs wrong this whole time.
This guy's a billionaire. Obviously, he knows how to pet a dog.
He's really smart. That's what makes him smart. He knows how to pet dogs right, and us fucking normies, us poors, we've been petting them wrong this whole time.
I would love to see like a write-up on Bloomberg.com tomorrow that's like the proper way to pet a dog.
I mean, you get like 10,000 years of history between humans and dogs. There's got to be one example there.
It's like the old BuzzFeed articles where it's like, you've been eating a banana wrong the whole time.
Anyways, maybe it's just a little one-time awkward mistake. Grab the dog's head. Whoops, kind of just went with it. But no, there appears to be a pattern here with Mike Bloomberg shaking dogs' faces.
And when you're rich, they let you do it. Grab them by the gaping maw.
No one's ever said no. No one's ever been, Mike, what are you doing?
That dog gave me consent.
Surrounded by yes men.
He wanted it. His mouth was open. I took advantage of that. So after the Vermont video was posted on Twitter, people found other instances of Mike Bloomberg grabbing dogs by their mouths or snout or whatever and posted them online.
It's a great way to get fucking bit.
Maybe he's following Lyndon B. Johnson's footsteps here, trying to look more presidential by holding dogs in weird ways.
Abusing animals in front of America.
Hey, it looks kind of painful, but presidents in the past, they have been known to do things with animals that look like they hurt.
And candidates. I mean, Mitt Romney strapped a dog to the roof of his car and drove like 1,000 miles.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. What is wrong with these people?
It's like, what? It's a nice, it's his own house. He loves his house. We just put it on the top of the car. He's getting a nice breeze. Are you insane?
Dogs do hang their heads out the window, so why not put them outside the car entirely?
Another former candidate, Mike Huckabee, his son killed a dog. Look it up.
Well, maybe that dog was sad and in misery. Was it? No, he just killed it?
No, I think more just like a kind of thing that a sociopath does.
The other dog on the roof thing, I've seen people with the motorcycle sidecar, they put their dog in there with some goggles on. They're loving it. Yeah. Who knows? But we're not exactly sure why Bloomberg did this. It is weird. That's not typically something people do when they meet a dog for the first time.
No.
I mean, it's like if you know the dog really well and they like to play the game where they kind of like nibble on you or whatever.
I mean, my dogs...
Yeah, they'll bite at you, and you kind of
my dogs. They'll let me manhandle them. I mean, one of them will bite me and has bit me many times, and that's why I do not recommend doing this to dogs.
But just don't shake a dog's face when you meet it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, over in impeachment news, we've been watching everything, just countless hours of boredom.
I haven't.
I've been watching almost all of it.
I turn it off, I fall asleep, wake up.
We've been watching it all unfold, and while it would take forever to get into the details of everything that's happened over the past week or so, here's a few key points that you might have missed to bring you up to speed with where we're at now.
So the demon rats, Dumbo-crats.
Yeah, funded by MSDNC.
Yeah. The Democrats, they made their case against the president in the Senate first over the course of a few days last week, basically laying out everything that we've already been aware of. Mm-hmm. Then the president's lawyers were up and they had their turns at the podium, but in the midst of their defense, parts of a book written by former Trump administration National Security Advisor and walrus John Bolton were leaked.
He's got a big mustache.
And the book basically says what everyone already knew. Yes, President Trump withheld aid from Ukraine with the explicit intent to convince their government to announce an investigation into the Bidens.
Yeah.
And now, in the days and hours that have followed this revelation, the defense has pretty much turned from, he didn't do anything wrong, to, well, he did, but that's not an impeachable offense.
Yes. The goalposts have been moved once again. They've been in the parking lot for months now, and soon those goalposts are going to wrap all the way around the earth and be right back to where they were when they began.
Yeah, you guys, just typical liberals like John Bolton trying to take down our Republican
That's
president.
the funniest thing is when this all came out, like all of the conservative media were just like...
Tool of the left?
A tool of the left.
This man is, for people on the left who know things, one of the most hated people in existence. Like him and Henry Kissinger. are pretty high up there as just like, wow, these guys did a lot of damage for having never actually been elected to a
He's worked for the Republican Party for 40 years.
Yeah.
No,
well, he's a big old lib.
And now he's lying to get book sales.
Deep cover, long con.
Yeah. Before this excerpt from his upcoming book leaked, there was little to no chance that Republicans in the Senate would allow key witnesses to publicly testify. But now there's a glimmer of hope because there are rumors swirling that they might have enough votes on their side to call Bolton in to testify under oath. And yeah, actually, as we were finishing up the script for this episode, the news broke that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has officially stated that the GOP now lacks the votes needed to block impeachment witnesses.
You don't have the votes. It's Hamilton.
So yeah, something new and something damning every day. Seems to pop up every day. But we have no idea, of course, how any of this is going to pan out. I mean, we originally assumed that everything would be rushed through and he'd be acquitted by the Republican-held Senate without issue. Now there's at least some hope that the president might actually face consequences.
That's super weird. Did not expect this.
Still not holding our breath here, but things just got a hell of a lot more interesting because they can no longer deny his wrongdoing. This is a person who was involved.
What was Bolton thinking? Because I don't think he wanted this outcome.
Well, so apparently he submitted the manuscript for the book to the White House 30 days ago.
Why is he writing a book about that includes this topic right now? Like,
because he wants to sell the most amount of books.
Yeah, you got to get
that's
out
obvious,
there super
but
fast.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But the craziest part is that it just sat in the White House for 30 days.
Yeah, that is funny.
And then Trump was like, "Oh, we can't get this out. We got to kill that Iran guy."
Yeah.
That way Bolton will be happy with us because he is a war hawk.
Yeah, that's sort of his thing.
Also, it was funny. He wasn't originally national security advisor, and Trump originally didn't want him to be because of his mustache.
Yeah, there's that, and also, I remember a lot of big MAGA people being fucking furious when he appointed Bolton because Bolton's part of the swamp.
Oh yeah, the deep state.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, you can't really deny that the aid was withheld because of an investigation that they were going to announce. So now his lawyers and everyone working on the president's defense, they just have to figure out a way to explain that it doesn't rise to the level of impeachment and removal from office.
We said he didn't do it, but you know what? He did do it, but also it doesn't matter if he did it.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about that?
Well, luckily, he's got Alan Dershowitz as one of his legal counsel.
I never took off my underwear. She was not underage. Why is this guy, the fucking balls on Alan Dershowitz? Any other person, after being heavily implicated in the Jeffrey Epstein shit, would have retired from public life, as many of them have.
Yes.
Alan Dershowitz, just another Tuesday. He's back out there.
Yeah.
It's wild. And we're letting him get away with it. Great job, everyone.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the more ridiculous side of politics, a Republican representative and all-around terrible fucking person from the state of Iowa named Steve King has been issued a cease and desist notice for using a copyrighted meme on a fundraising page. Mm-hmm. Now, the meme in question, it's an old meme, but it checks out, is Success Kid. The one that you're seeing right now of a little boy at the beach making a fist with a determined look on his face. And the image was posted on a social post and web page with the slogan, "Fund our memes" on it. Oh, fuck off.
I know.
And a description that read, "Question, do you enjoy our memes?" Thinking emoji. If so, please click the link below and throw us a few dollars to make sure the memes keep flowing and the lefties stay triggered. Mind blown emoji. Thank you. Thumbs up. American flag. God damn it. Why did we let old people get on the internet?
Yeah, it's total hello fellow kids nonsense. But his usage of Success Kid pissed off the owner of the image, Lainey Grainer, a.k.a. Success Kid's mother. It pissed her off so much that she contacted her lawyer and had them send out a cease and desist letter to Representative King. In a Twitter thread where she confirmed the letter, she had this to say about the whole debacle. "I recently learned that Iowa Representative Steve King is using my copyrighted photograph of my minor son Samuel, known as Success Kid, to raise money in a Fund Our Memes online campaign, also implying that he has some kind of ownership in it. Representative King and his campaign staff appropriated Success Kid without my permission. Success Kid is about positivity and celebrates achievement. Neither I, my son, nor Success Kid have any affiliation with Representative King, nor would we have ever agreed to this use. I do not endorse Representative King, and, like most people, I strongly disagree with his views. Representative King should remove Success Kid from his web pages immediately, issue a statement to acknowledge that the image was taken without our permission and endorsement, and refund the money his campaign received for misusing Success Kid. For any further inquiries, please contact my legal counsel. And then she lists that info.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well,
we're back to memes again. It's a new election year, and the
you
memes
forget
are,
that
the
these
memes flow.
images, like, someone had to take these pictures. I guess she's just been holding out. Like, all the other memes, she's like, yeah, it's fine, you know, whatever. Just kids being kids.
Well, that's like when campaigns use music from artists, and the artist will be like, hey, okay, that's cool. And then, like, every artist that Trump uses at any campaign rally has to fight to get their song removed.
Anyway, sounds like finally getting some justice for the meme thieves out there.
Mm-hmm.
We'd lost hope for a while, considering that the Fat Jew, despite all of the very public hate for him, was able to be cast in one of the best movies of last year.
So it's nice to see some justice, I guess.
He's like a big, ugly wart on a otherwise beautiful face.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all for today. We'll be back tomorrow for a brand new episode of Tech News Day. And yes, Phil is once again going to join us, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if you are a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member, you can go listen to our most recent exclusive podcast. It is a full 90-minute, hour-and-a-half pod where we cover a bunch of stuff and take your questions as well. So check that out, and also check out our most recent episodes of Weekly Weird News and News Dump.
There they are.
Right over here.
Go check those out. And then sign up for the Patreon. Throw $5 down, listen to all the podcasts. 90 minutes. 90 minutes.
90 minutes.
We'll see you guys soon for Tech News Day. Bye-bye.
Bye.